Hi, this is Doug Winnie in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and I want to talk to you about how to learn to ride a solo wheel. Now, by virtue of the fact that you're watching this, it shows that you have some interest in these things. A lot of people call them electric unicycles. Different terms have been used, and there are a lot of manufacturers. And the more you learn about it, the more you'll find there are more manufacturers. Everything from sort of a generic brand that will run you somewhere around $250 to $300, well on all the way up to the Gotways, which run over $1,000. And you generally get what you pay for, but I'm going to talk to you about coming in at the base level, which is where I came in. And this all started back about a year ago. I'm 62 years of age, and about a year ago, just before Christmas, just by chance on YouTube, I happened to run across this video of this guy. I think he was in London, England, and he was riding this thing, and he was going along the sidewalk and past people, and I was like, that's the most amazing thing I ever saw in my life. And so when Christmas rolled around, I had my wish list, and I said, I want one of those things. And nobody gave me one. So I had some money and I saved up, and I sent, I think it was $325. I sent it off to China, and I thought, boy, I wonder if I'll ever see anything from this. But sure enough, about 3 weeks later, my solo wheel came, my electric unicycle, and here it is. And it didn't look quite like this when I first got it. This is black duct tape that I've put on because the thing's gotten beat to smithereens. Here I've crashed it. Plastic's gotten a little bit broken in the front. This one was manufactured. It says it has a smart label, and there is a company apparently that uses this. But I didn't know anything about it. And so I went on YouTube and I watched different videos. I watched guys talk about trying to learn to ride it inside your house and putting on these wheels. They come with these wheels and using a strap and so forth. And one of the fellows I watched, he basically said, these things are a waste of time. And other than when you put these on initially, it does give you that sense of just being a few inches taller. And there is a psychological factor to just being a little bit higher off the ground. And so that was helpful to me to just get that. But as far as learning to ride, these are of no value, and I would agree with the guy. Don't waste too much time with it. So what you need to do is get your solo wheel, get it charged up, and start. And I'll show you how I started. So I got this. I bought it on my own, and unfortunately, this is Pennsylvania, and I got it. I think it was in February, and in February around here, it's terrible in the winter. And so I wasn't able to, it's not like Southern California or Florida or something like that. So I was like, well, how am I going to do this? So I initially had the training wheels on, and I tried to do it a little bit in the kitchen. Finally, I took the training wheels off, and we had a round oak table, kitchen table, and I would try to just kind of go around with my feet on this, both feet on, and just kind of trying to go around, get that sense of movement. And finally it warmed up, and I thought, well, I'll try it outside. Well, I almost immediately, I'm crashing. That's the word I use. I crashed again and again, and I'm thinking I'm going to kill myself when I finally really get this out. So I bought some elbow pads and knee pads, and I can remember coming over here. This is across the street from where we live. It's a commercial building, and we have a Coca-Cola machine here, and I can remember coming out here, and I had my winter clothing on and a heavy coat on, and I had all this gear on, and the people here were kind of laughing as they're watching me. And I'd finally get it started up, and I'd get on, and I'd be here, and I'd be so careful. I'd be like trying to hold on and get both feet on, and then I would go. And I'd go, and I'd go about 10 feet. I'd go about 10 feet and I'd crash. And then I remember trying it, and I finally went 20 feet and I crashed. And then there's a church road down the road, and it had 2 lampposts, and I got to that lamppost, and I was like, if I could get to the other lamppost. And I can remember coming in and saying to my wife, I think I went probably 100 feet. And I was so excited, 100 feet. And finally there's a park not too far from us, and it has a pond, and it has a trail that goes around the pond. And I told my wife, I'm gonna go, by now it's like maybe May or something. I said, I'm gonna go early in the morning. So I went around 6 o'clock in the morning. Nobody was there because I didn't want anybody to see me. And I had all this stuff on me and my helmet on, and I tried to go around. I remember I crashed 4 times going around this little pond. And then I went a couple days later and I crashed once. And then I didn't crash at all. And then I was like, I'll try going the other way around. And what I'd say to you is, again, I'm 62, and a lot of these people you see doing this, they're a lot younger than I am. And I can remember being at the point where I thought, I can't do this. In fact, I'm probably going to have to sell this thing. And I thought, I just don't dare quit. Just do it, Doug, do it. And I stayed at it, and it paid off. Now, let me show you how to do this, okay? The way I do it, and I think this is the way most people do it, is, and I tend to do it the same way, I always have the on switch up here at the front, is I put it down and kick it on. And you'll see the lights come on, how much power you have. And initially, I did not understand the issue of the foot, and I've seen other people try, and they'll put their foot sort of like this. You don't want your foot like that. Basically, get it so that the ball of your foot is at the front of the step. So you're quite a ways, if you can see how far up I am. That's what you want to be. And granted, when you're first starting, there's no question that the issue of having somebody with you or leaning against a Coca-Cola machine or something helps. But this issue of being able to start off, you have to be able to do that. And the starting and the stopping, sort of like flying an airplane. Those are the hardest parts, the taking off and the landing. But you get your foot up a good distance like that, and so you have that sense of almost like on a bicycle, and you're finally just going to push off. And then when you stop, you just slow up and step. So let me show that to you again. So the issue is you've got your foot there, and you're going to kind of, it's leaning a little bit. That is, I don't have this straight up and down. In fact, I can remember thinking at the very beginning, well, here's my weight, it's all going to push it off. No, you're kind of leaning like that. You have it at an angle. And so you're going to take off and then step on. I've put, I would estimate, about 150 to 200 miles on this in the 6 months I've been riding. I basically take it out every day, and I go for 2-3 miles, that kind of thing. They way overestimate how much distance you can get out of these. I would say, this is the 132 size battery, which is most of what these have. And they will say, oh, it's good for 15 miles or 18 kilometers or that kind of thing, or 11 miles, 18 kilometers. That's not really the case. I would say if you can get 5 or 6 miles, you're doing pretty well. And if you get down to the point where you're at one light, this one has the lights. When you get down to the point you have one light, believe me, you want to basically stop. Because I remember one time I was riding this and I was going past some people, and there's no question, there's a little bit of, pride in this thing of, look at me. And just as I'm going past them, this thing, which had been on one light, it stopped. And they'll tell you it slows down, and it basically just stops. And I'm just going past it and all of a sudden it just quit, and I'm going flying. And so that was a little bit of, the Bible talks about pride comes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. Boy, that was a haughty spirit that I had before my fall. So take a warning. If it's not fully charged, don't take it out. Just charge it. And I have found, I'll say this too, about these things are indestructible. I have crashed this in those learning times, months and months, way back, a year back. I crashed this thing. If I said hundreds of times, I don't think I'd be overstating the case. So that's why this is all taped up. The tape is because I just banged this thing to smithereens, and yet it's still dependable, takes off every time, It's great, and I'm convinced it's the wave of the future. If I had the money, I'd buy a Gotway or at least a rock wheel. Those are great manufacturers, and they go faster, will go further, and that's what I have to say. So enjoy, and it's a wonderful thing.